All right, guys. It's Monday. Got another live coming your way. We're going to give it another couple of minutes. Let some more people jump in here. And then we will get into today's topic. And that is IRMA. So IRMAA, IRMA. So again, I'm Brandon. It's a Monday live. We're going to go over IRMA today in just a couple of. Actually, no. We'll go ahead and get started. It's 11:30. Some people trickle in, as they come through. But today we're going over IRMA and how that little acronym can affect your Part B premium and things like that. So as you can see on the first slide here, so IRMA and your premiums, how retirement income can quietly raise your Medicare premiums and what you can do about it. All right, so we'll jump in to slide 2. Okay, so IRMA. What is IRMA? Why does my agent mention that? Hopefully your agent mentions that. But we're going to look over what it is. IRMA, it stands for Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. And that's just a surcharge added on top of your standard Medicare Part B and Part D premiums when your income crosses certain thresholds. It isn't a penalty for doing anything wrong. It's an income test applied automatically. So as you can see there, for the normal person, when they come in, they're going to have this idea in their head. Maybe they've heard it from a relative or something like that, that to get Part B, they have to pay we say 203. It's really $202.90 a month to have Part B. And then IRMA is what gets stacked on top of that. So for this entire illustration, the normal person, and I say normal, right, is probably going to pay $202.90. But what we're going to show you is that if you make a certain amount, or if you did make a certain amount, or however the chips fall, you could potentially be paying more, or you could have to pay more for your Part B premium, and no one's probably ever told you that. So IRMA, it applies to Part B and Part D. It's set by Social Security, and then fewer than 1 in 10 have to pay it. But some people do find themselves in that one. So we'll move on to slide 2 here. So what I mentioned earlier is that Social Security sets it, okay? And it goes on a 2-year look back. So they're going to look back 2 years before, the time when you're supposed to be starting Social Security. And they're gonna determine how much you're going to have to pay for your Part B. All right. So Social Security doesn't use this year's income. It reaches back 2 years to the most recent tax return the IRS can get them. So if this is 2026 and you're retiring in 2026, they're going to look back at 2024 and see what your wages were, capital gains, any kind of conversions, anything like that. So the income decisions you make this year set your 2028 premium, and IRMA planning is always 2 years ahead. So if you're looking at retiring in 2027, then your income from 2025 is what's going to determine that. And I'm about to show you a chart to where you can really get an idea in just a little bit. So what counts towards what Social Security is going to determine to be your line? So this MAGI, monthly adjusted gross income, your adjusted gross income plus tax-exempt interests like bonds and stuff like that. So this is what counts towards that. RMDs, which are required minimum distributions, any kind of IRA withdrawals. Okay, so every dollar out of a traditional IRA or a 401k counts towards that line. So let's just say that you accessed your 401k a little early in 2024, and that's gonna come in. Roth conversions. It's a great long-term move, but that converted amount kind of goes towards your monthly adjusted in that year. Capital gains, let's just say that you sold some land, some timber, rentals. You got gains on your stocks. Those are going to come into play. Pension income, taxable pension and annuity payments are included. Taxable Social Security, and obviously your wages, rental, and businesses. So all of those things are going to count towards what the Social Security is going to look at when they determine what you're going to be paying for your Part B premium. All right. So here's the chart that I was mentioning. So in this is looking back. This is just saying it's 2024, just because we're in the year of 2026. So if you were retiring this year, they would again look at 2024. If you were single or married, there's the charts for both. Let's just say that you were single, non-married, and in 2024 you made 109,000 or less dollars a year. Then that's going to put you at the standard monthly premium. As you can see, it's going to be 202.90 or that 203 number. If you were married, filing jointly back in 2024, and still to this day, so it's going to be 218,000 or less. So if you're married and as a household, you guys are filing 218 or less yearly, then you're going to be at that 202.90 number for your Part B. But here's where it gets a little, here's where the water gets a little muddy, right? So let's just say that you were single and you made $109,001, all right, to 137,000. So they give you ranges, but let's just say you made a dollar over 109,000. You were single. Well, no one's probably told you, but you're going to pay $284.10 for your Part B premium. Okay. So that's a pretty big jump. It's an $82 jump. If I'm all right, decent at math. So you're paying a little bit more than the normal person would for their Part B, just because you made a dollar more than someone did last year. So, but that range is 109 to 137. And then as you can see, married filing jointly, that goes $218,001 to 274,000. Then you guys, or you singly, would have to pay $284 a piece for your Part B premium. All right. I'm not going to go over the full chart. As you've seen at the beginning, typically 1 in 10 people have to deal with this inflated Part B just because of their income. But I've spoken to a handful of people that this kind of falls on, right? And you think that, man, I'm doing really well. You think since you position yourself that way, then you shouldn't get penalized for it. And really, it's not a penalty, but they're just, the government's going to get their money one way or the other. You make those amounts, you're going to pay more for your Part B premium, all the way up into $689 a month for your Part B premium at the max, right? So at the bottom there, if you're an individual making more than $500,000 a year, or if you're a married couple making more than $750. So there's that chart. You might have never seen that. You can screenshot that if you want to, or if you come in, we'll give you a little handout, and we'll talk about IRMA. And to segue off of that, we can't really have that conversation here in this context, but we do have other things that we do. We're not just a Medicare shop. However, that's a large majority of what we do. But probably the other portion of that is going to be some, things on the financial side. Show you a couple of more things. So if IRMA affects you, you can comment below, or if IRMA affects you and you want to, talk about it privately, obviously, you can call us and we'll talk about that, or we'll set an appointment with that. But it does need to be a separate conversation from just a Medicare conversation. Let me make sure I went to the right slide. All right, moving on. So that was all for Part B. Okay, so now we're going to show you how it affects Part D. So again, Part D has its own surcharge. It's the same income brackets from the chart that we just seen. And then, it's going to be added on top of your plan premium. It's billed by Medicare, not your plan, and it applies inside Medicare Advantage as well. All right. So here's the surcharge range for 2026. You got $14.50 per person per month, or up into $91 total. All right. So here we go. This illustration, let's see, it's a cliff, not a slope. So every dollar over a bracket line charges the full surcharge for that tier. So that's what I was mentioning earlier. If, let's just say that, another single person that did 109 even, and they're paying 202.90, and then you made $109,001 and you got to pay $82 more. It's just, it's just a range there. So that could, it could be extra Part B and Part D cost per person from crossing the line by just $1, and that gives you up to $1,148 extra that you're spending a year. or for a married couple, $2,200, almost $2,300 a year. All right. So it does reset after every year. One high income year isn't a life sentence. It rolls off when the income drops. So the one-time events that trip the wire. Oh, okay. So this is just giving you some real world scenarios. From what I said earlier of, what counts towards that line. Again, it's just going to be selling land, timber. You sold a farm, a large IRA or 401k withdrawal, paying off a house, or helping family. Your final working year, full salary plus a payout or bonus, and then you pay for that when you retire. Selling a rental, a big Roth conversion, or RMDs, but those don't start until 73. Most people are going to be on Medicare by that time anyway. So there's just some of those. It says you can appeal if your income has dropped since that 2-year-old tax return because of a qualifying life event. Social Security can use your new lower income instead. So what it's saying is it's not a life sentence. It doesn't mean that's always what you're going to have to pay, but it is reevaluated every year, and you can also appeal that. So if you stopped working, or you retired, or you got a pay cut, or if you were married and your spouse passes away and you lose that income, or on the other side, if you marry and you gain your spouse's income and that puts you over, all of those things, you can file a SSA 44 form within 60 days of your IRMA notice, and you have to bring some supplying proof or documents for that as well. All right. Here is how you keep yourself under that line, or give yourself the best idea. That way you're not surprised by it. Number one, you know your number before December. You can estimate this year's monthly adjusted gross income each fall. If you're near a line, every year end withdrawal decision matters. The right size Roth conversions, so convert up to, not through, a bracket line. The best conversion window is often before Medicare even starts. You can give from the IRA, not use it as a checkbook, or you can spread big gains across the tax years. All right. All right, some key points of what we went over today. So if you're retiring in 2026, just remember that there is a 2-year, look back of when they would do that, when they would look at some stuff. So if it's 2027 next year, then they're going to look at 2025, or back at 2025. So it's what to remember: your 2024 tax return sets your 2026 premiums. All right, so just plan ahead. It says IRMA's a cliff. $1 over the line costs the full surcharge for the whole year. So just make sure that you evaluate that, and if you're going to be close, then maybe take a little less from your Roth or your 401 to not put you over that line. It hits both Part B and Part D. It even does inside the Medicare Advantage plans. If you've retired or had any qualifying life change, you can use that appeal form within 60 days. And the best defense is an income plan. Just the timing of everything. So just make sure that you stay up to date and keep a check on that. So if you want to, we can look at those for you. We can help facilitate that. You can tell us either, you can do 2 things, right? So you can bring us your tax returns, and, we'll show you kind of where you stand, or, you can talk with your CPA. You can put us in touch with your CPA, and we can call them and kind of see where you're at. We don't charge any fees to come in and look at it, whereas, your CPA might. So just kind of keep that in mind. Here's some folks here: Justin Stark, our proud owner of this establishment; Brandon Gonzalez; myself, and I do the retirement planning, all those things. And then health for Chris. He does Medicare for us, and all those things. So we got a pretty well-rounded team here. You come in, we'll make sure all of our, T's are however that saying goes, I's dotted, T's crossed. You know what I'm trying to say. But you can reach us at 662-200-2249, or you can come and see us at 158 MS15 Suite D here in Pontotoc. You can see us on our website, PontotocinsuranceAgency.com. And then again, we're doing these lives every Monday at 11:30. But I think that's going to be it. Yeah, that's going to be it for us today. We went over IRMA. If you have any other questions about IRMA, again, comment below, call us, come see us. We'd love to kind of show you some options and show you how you can prepare for it and not be so surprised.